Now, there are groups on Facebook for just about everything. The Support the Monks in Burma group has got 450,000 members. Most of them joined in a period of 12 hours. Mind you, the Jeremy Clarkson for Prime Minister group has got 500,000 members and will probably get in at this rate as well. There are groups for absolutely everything. People are using Facebook now, not just as a bit of fun, a bit of a lark. It's now being used as a serious tool to interact and engage with people, but more importantly, to listen to people. I have conversations with large financial institutions almost every week of the year. Not just large ones, but smaller ones as well. And they all tend to take place in small, dark coffee bars where no one can see them. And they all get a bit confidential and they say, Phil, we've noticed this social media stuff. We think it's a great idea to promote our products and services to either IFAs or direct to consumers. We like the look of this social media largely because there's a huge audience out there. As we saw, Facebook has 300 million people in there now. So anybody who decides, who's thinking about promoting financial services is thinking Facebook's a great idea, if just for the sheer reach that it has. But the conversations tend to go like this. They say, oh, Phil, we're quite interested in social media. We think it's a great idea, but we haven't got the expertise, we haven't got the resource, we haven't got the time, we haven't got the money, and more importantly, we're really quite nervous that people might say nasty things about us in a very, very public environment. We like the idea of it though, but that's the bit we're not too keen on. And this, I think, is the mindset that as an industry, certainly financial services, if not any brand whatsoever, has really now got to get over. This idea that people are talking about us and we don't want to hear it. Or if we go and we start using this fancy modern technology which all the kids are using, people are going to say nasty things about us in an open environment. And I'll be honest about this, I've done it myself. Only a couple of weeks ago I was having problems with our BT internet connection, and so what do? I go onto Twitter and I say, those idiots at BT, or words to that effect, have screwed up my internet connection and all the rest of it. You've been wondering how I managed to do this. I did it through my phone. How dare they do this and all the rest of it? How dare they do this? And guess what? Within 10 minutes, I get a nice direct message through Twitter from somebody very friendly at BT saying, oh, we're really sorry to hear about that problem. How can we get this sorted for you immediately? I went, wow, wow. How do we get this sorted immediately? And because they know that the people that follow me on Twitter, and there's a few thousand that follow me, so a few thousand potentially could have seen that, and it only needs one person to retweet that onto their few thousand followers, and it only needs one person there who's having a bad day with BT to retweet, and before you know it, 500,000 people have seen that I'm having a problem with BT, and the perception that creates out there is quite phenomenal. But this very nice person said, how can we sort this out immediately? They phoned me up and we got it sorted out within 15 minutes. I didn't have to phone up another country or anywhere else to get this done. I got it done within 15 minutes. But what do you suppose I did after that? I go onto Twitter, because I've now got my BT internet connection back. I go onto Twitter and I say, what a fantastic service I've just had from BT. Aren't they wonderful? Aren't they wonderful? And that's really what's going on the internet right now. Consumers are talking about us. Even if we are nervous about taking steps into social media and think, oh, we're scared about people saying horrid things about us out loud where the world and his wife is going to see it, it's happening anyway. Consumers in every single industry are talking about us. And let's just talk about financial services because we have a few financial services people here. Right now, after people go to Google to find out information on financial matters, the next place they go to is social networking websites. And they type the same question in. Where can I find an expert on pensions or buy-to-let mortgages? They type the same thing. And specifically, they go to websites like ecademy.com. They go to LinkedIn questions and answers. They go to, guess what? Saga Zone. Saga has its own social networking site. Guess what the #1 topic of conversation is in the Saga Zone forums, other than Viagra? Money. Where can I get a financial advisor I can rely on? Where can I find someone who can help my kids get a mortgage? Where can I find someone who can help me maximise my savings returns? That's where they go. Now, when we go onto Google or another search engine and we type those questions into where can I find an IFA in Reading or wherever it is, a computer returns results to us, which we can read or not, as the case may be. But when we go into a social networking website and say, where can I find a pensions expert in Reading? Guess what? Real people reply, saying, Talk to my guy, talk to my lady who looks after me. And they don't just say, I can recommend someone. They give you reviews, they give you testimonials, they add a bit of extra to it. People are talking about our industry. And I think anybody who's dealing with money right now is under the spotlight. Anybody who deals with money, whether you're a mortgage broker, whether you're an IFA, whether you're a greedy banker, that's what we like to call them these days, don't we? Whatever you are, you're under the spotlight, and the world and his wife is talking about you right now. And the question I think we should be taking is we should be braver now. And you mentioned Penny Power's fantastic book, Know Me, Like Me, Follow Me. This is a new mindset that we all need to have right now, to be brave enough to go, step into the internet world and say, here I am, what have you got to say about me? And not sort of hide and say, I'm here, okay, tell me, give it to me straight, but to actually proactively go out there and encourage your clients, your professional connections, anybody who knows you, to actively talk about you online. I just want to draw something. I hope one or two of you can see this, because this is kind of work. You know, here's any business. Let's say it's an IFA for the sake of argument, or a mortgage broker, and here are your clients. And the way the communication routes tend to work is like this. You to client, you to client, you to client. And occasionally that all happens at once through maybe an email newsletter or something like that. And occasionally this happens, client to you. Yeah, they phone you up about something. They want information, they want help. Now what's missing from that model? This bit, where the clients talk to each other. I know some of you thinking, oh, I don't want that. Don't want the clients talking. Why not? And this is really what social media is all about. Now you can do this, and the trick is to generate and to encourage these conversations, to actually make them happen. Because what you will hear in these conversations will be incredibly rich to you. They'll tell you things that you're doing great in your business. They'll give you ideas for improvements in your service. They'll give you ideas for new products and services that you'll never think of in a million years. This is your social network. You've all got a social network already. It's your clients. And, you know, you may occasionally, I mean, Inspired tonight, this is the Inspired social network. They're listening to your conversations. They're picking up stuff from you. They're deliberately encouraging you to talk about them. But the next step we all now have to do is be brave enough to do this in this big, scary internet world. Let me give you an example of how kids are using. I mean, I just love this stuff. I was looking over my son's shoulder when he was 17 one afternoon. He's on his laptop and he's on MSN. Are you familiar with MSN messaging? Yeah? And he's communicating with what appeared to be 20 different people simultaneously in a language that I certainly didn't learn at school, and with spellings I didn't learn at school either. So I casually go to him, so, you know, how many friends have you got? This is all about friends these days, isn't it? How many friends? And he goes, 2,240, Dad. How many have you got? My instinct is to go all competitive at that moment. Well, I must have had more when I was 17, and I found myself mentally counting up how many friends I had when I was 17, and I honestly couldn't get much further than 40. Friends at school, friends local football, rugby, whatever, all the rest of it, and a few cousins I threw in for good measure. 40. I said, well, I got 40, and I thought, well, of course, my definition of friends is the right definition, and yours is the wrong. But, you know, this day and age, you'd say my definition is right and his is wrong.